I'm back, baby. Fight the planet!
Let's Echo 23, see what's up.
Alright, I'm here. Sorry. Still getting everything situated. I'm here. I'm here, I promise. What's up, everyone? Wait, hold on. Was the alert not playing? Well, during the intro? It should have been. Yo, what's up, guys? Hold on, where's my thing not? But I just heard that. Dr. Reiki popping new shells for 4 months. He's got a 4-month shell streak going on. What's up, dude? Sorry, I was a little late tonight because a bunch of my family's traveling next week for Thanksgiving, so we were doing pre-Thanksgiving today. I am so hot right now because usually I don't eat a lot of carbs and breads and stuff, but on certain occasions I'll throw down. Today was one of those days, and now my body's like, oh, carbs make all the heat. So I'm like, I'm so hot right now. Hold on, something weird happened where like not all of the chat was showing up. What the heck is going on? So I saw your question here, Chris. Let's see. Where did the clever reply come from whenever the voice, the Homer voice goes, nerd? It's ridiculous to me, but I have no idea it inspired you to say it. And, oh, basically that was Bender. So there was an episode of Futurama where Bender finds out that people will pay for companionship and basically becomes a pimp. And he doesn't know about this yet. He thinks he's discovering it. So he's like, wait, people will pay for companionship? And the next thing you know, it cuts to him being in court. And the judge is like, guilty. He's like, stupid anti-pimping laws. And you see him walking out of there. And he's got 2 female robots with him. And they're like, we still love you, Bender. He's like, shut up, baby, I know it. That's where I stole it from. I literally just lifted it straight from there. Yeah, he was a pimp. Hang on, let me restart something here because one of my programs, the one that actually aggregates all the chat for me, it's not working. It's no bueno. Let me see if I can pull this back up. Dude, Bender was one of my all-time favorite cartoon characters. It's amazing. All right, say something in the chat here so I can see if it's working. Twitch broadcaster not connected. Why you no connect? I did hear the nerds. That worked. Hey, there it goes. Now it's something. Something in the chat. So here's to see if it's working. Perfect. All right, now it's working. I don't know what the deal was with it. I just had to turn it off and on again. Go figure. Hey, Raga, what's up, man? Take a look at the actions in the repo and see the deployment. It's cool. Oh, yeah, I saw your message on Discord. One sec. Let me go pull that up. If I can find the Discord. I feel like such a grandpa with these new glasses. So these are the new glasses that I got, right? Here. They're a bit bigger because I was trying to get something that covered more of my field of view. So these ones are probably about 25% wider than the old pair. But the chromatic aberration on them is so horrible. So like when I'm sitting like this, which is like my normal head position, I can see the colors separating, right? I see like red and blue separating from whatever I'm looking at. So I gotta kind of look up a little bit. And I feel like I'm a grandpa, like trying to get my readers in the right position because the chromatic aberration is so freaking bad on these. Let's see. What happened to Discord? Hang on one sec. Let me find it. Did it crash? Hang on one sec. Ah, no, there it is. Okay. It came up. Yeah, let's see what you've done on the repro recently. I'm gonna make my own chat overlay with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the chat overlay. What's the delay on that? Pretty good. All right, let me see here. All these acting weird here. No, it's still going. Okay, good. Hey, Abza, thanks for following the channel, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming online. Hope you're having a awesome Saturday. Or no, Sunday. My bad. It's Sunday. Let's see. Oh, check in the actions. You can watch the deployment live. Oh, hey, okay. Hang on. Actions. That's pretty cool. So you integrate the GitHub actions with it. Nice. Nice. Oh, great. Hold on. Before I get too far into this, let me get the test box back up real quick. Because I don't think I have... I just set the computer back up, and I don't think this connection's even, like, still alive. Now, let me reconnect here. There we go. And let me kill the VPN and restart it real quick here. I've been coding 47 hours without sleep. Bruh. I hope you at least took some breaks in there, dude. All right, hang on. Let me see. Let me get this the seed run going real quick. It didn't start the... Oh, you freaking try hack me. Couple of food breaks? Gotcha. Let's see. I just got done off my food break. So typically when I know I've got a day where I'm going to like just really throw down, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, I will fast the day before or the day of. So like today it was dinner. So basically from dinner last night until through to dinner tonight, I was fasting. And it keeps me from just going absolutely crazy overboard during those days. But, ooh, it was tasty. Sock made some amazing desserts. I hate going to sleep before I finish the job. Ah, dude. Okay, but take care of yourself, dude. I know I hate it too. I have fought sleep for 41 years, and I have constantly failed. And my youngest son, who just turned 4, his name is Honey Badger. He is learning that lesson too. He'd be like, but Daddy, I don't want to sleep. I was like, tough, kid. Sleep's gonna win eventually. So you might as well do it intelligently and turn it into a friend instead of a foe. Oh, you know what? Dang it. I don't think I restarted the LangChain server. Or the LangGraph server. Let's get that going here. Yeah. Clear this out. Let's restart the integration server. All right, hold on. All right, there we go. Grab this. Hey, there we go. All right, now let me go grab the test state, and then we can get this guy going here. So let's pull up the Stinger agent, and then I'll go take a look at the repo, right? Submit. All right, let that one go for just a second. Okay, so while that's going on here. Nice. I like that you integrated the GitHub Actions. I wish I knew more about GitHub Actions. I just haven't dug into them yet. I've dug into them just a tiny bit because they've shown up during penetration tests. And there were ways to potentially abuse them, but I haven't found one where it was abusable during my during the work I've been doing. So it's been on my perpetual to learn list. I intend to work out tomorrow morning, but I'm knowing my luck, I'll be awake all night again. Dude, I try to have a pretty solid bedtime routine. Tonight it's going to be jacked up because I'm drinking the Jocko, and then after that's done, I'm going to go take some carbon and diatomaceous earth to help clean out all the junk I had for dinner. And then I got to wait about an hour and a half after that to then take my sleepy pills, which is melatonin and magnesium. And then once that's, then those will take a little while to get. So I'm in for a short night of sleep. However, using the creatine to help offset the utter ham slam of the sleepiness has been helping a lot. Hey Ernesto, what's up, brother? Happy Sunday. Right now we got an issue in the deployment where it does not burst the cloud cache. So a new push was just done. Oh, nice. Building, deploying, doing DNS validation. Very nice. So we actually use this at work for building certain tools, like during a penetration test. And so we'll have like a suite of tools that we want to use commonly. Rubius, you know, Sharphound, a whole slew of like C#.net, various executables. And so they're all built into a workflow like this. And so we can just kick off a new build and then download them. Makes it super handy. I finished an MCV server in 47 hours, which will be finished in 4 to 5 weeks. Damn! It's a lot of work, dude. Wait, hold on. Was it an MBC or an MCV? Or MCP? I'm gonna think you probably meant MVC, Model View Controller. Alright, let's see what HackBot's doing here. It made it to the exploitation agent, so that's good. Taming the screw? What are these two, Bob? Another one. I did go through and clear out all the weird background music in here. I think what I probably need to do is just go re-download the repo and then go down and re-catch them each one at a time. Okay, so yeah, it was MVC for website control. Got it. Cool, man. Hey, Frozen, what's up, man? Brief lab question. With the math degree, how did you get started learning the basic foundations to move into pen testing? So the reason I ask is I'm not certain that the A+, Net+, and Sec+, with some of the Linux and Python, will give me what I need to be competitive for a SOC Tier 1 or a cyber engineer role. So any advice there? So I do have a degree in math, but I was working in IT the whole time I was doing that, right? So here, hold on, let me clear this out. That's not what I wanted. Yeah. So this has been a long progression for it. A lot of people get that same, I asked that same question, like, hey, how did you go from math to penetration testing? Here's what happened. Basically, in the second grade, I kind of hacked my first computer and I did it on accident and I didn't really understand what I was doing. I found a logic bug in a testing software that let me get a perfect score by answering questions wrong enough times. So then you fast forward all the way through about 2009 in here. So 2009, I've just been learning little bits of information this whole time, picking up tidbits, figuring out how stuff works, reading things. So I had a smattering of information about how the computers worked, but not a lot of formal object understanding of them. So 2009, I started taking the Cisco network certification courses for your CCNA. And then from there, we just kind of went forward. Starting about 2012 here is actually when I went to college. So I went to TCU. And it just happened to be that the very simplest thing I could go get a degree in was math. But this whole time up here, I had actually started working around 2010. So 2010, I've been working continuously in IT. So I had this kind of parallel path going here where finally in let's call it 2015 because it was December 2014. So 2015, I graduated and then basically just went right back up here and just kept working in IT till finally we're here in 2025 and I'm still working in IT. So I've been doing it for 15 years professionally, but there was a whole slew of area right here where things were just happening. Go Toads, yeah. What's funny is the whole time, since I was working full time, I was working a full 40 hours and I was taking anywhere from 14 to 17 hours during college. I was very, very busy, especially during the first year, because that's where I was taking the 17 hours while working 40 hours, while dating my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. So I was crazy busy. So I officially went into security because I was working in IT here in January 2015. This is actually when I went into security, kind of not in a SOC, but kind of like in a SOC analyst type role. It was weird, but I was working on the blue side. 2018 here is actually when I went into offensive security. So I've been doing that for 7 years. So there was a long progression of all these things here. The math degree helped in some respects because it helped solidify a lot of logic and understanding. And I've always been very good at troubleshooting and logically thinking through things, but it got a lot more solid after that. I was able to actually really think about it. Yeah, so it's been a long progression here. So what I'd say, Chris, if you've knocked out your A plus, which even then I think the A plus is super optional, but if you have your Net plus and Sec plus, going through and then take a Windows system administration course, something like, hey, very basic intro to Windows server understanding, looking at that, looking at the Windows operating system, and then you would start moving into something like the SOC simulator over on TryHackMe. And then as you're going through those, then you'll start understanding how to like lay a foundation and then overlay security onto that. So what I tell people is security is never anything unto itself here. If you think about it, you've got a base level of knowledge here, and then security is an overlay that you put on the top of this right here. So it sits on top of this base layer of knowledge. And sometimes it can then branch out to other areas of knowledge here. So there's could be an adjacent one, and it comes over and these two kind of start lining up. It will work like that, but you always have to have this base, more or less understanding of how the system's working, and then you can overlay the security on top of it. Last run failed, rip. That sucks, man. So, by the way, when's Jocko going to sponsor the stream? I don't know, man. I'm still working on it. Actually, I'm hoping here soon. I finish physical therapy in a couple weeks. And then after that, I should be able to... Oh, you should not still be running. Things have gone very wrong if this is still running. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. All right, I think I want to pause it, but I think instead what I'm going to do is just cancel it. Yeah, I'm going to kill you. As much as I hate to do that, because it should have finished the exploit loop by now. Let me refresh this page here. Maybe it's just not caught up yet, because this run should not be showing is still running in here. And we'll go through and we'll analyze what it did down in the exploitation loop. I appreciate the overview and the timeline. So I had no idea you had started on the blue side either. So that's humbling, and I'll keep my head down and studying. Yeah, man. A lot of folks will start over on the blue side before going into offensive security. I honestly didn't even think I would have a chance at working in offensive security. I just happened to strike at a good time when I knew somebody was getting ready to move on to something else. And it worked. The timing just worked out great. A lot of times also what will happen is the blue side actually tends to pay better. So your blue salary might be right about here. And then when they want to move into offensive security, they'll actually have to take a pay cut and then come down here. And a lot of times they can kind of recover that back up to here. But over on the blue side, it does tend to pay better. But when you make that shift over to red, you're going to see usually a little bit of a pay cut. But also, it depends on your personality. I enjoyed the red side more because it fits with my personality and what I like to do. Should get a sketch redeem for random reminders during the stream when I get a little bit more time. So actually, I got a new little gadget here I'm going to test out. This will hopefully let me combine the 3.5 audio jacks from the desktop and the streaming computer. I'll be able to hear everything. And then I'm hoping next week during Thanksgiving, we can do a couple of like hang out and play a video game stream. I need to go. What sucks is I lost my save game for Alan Wake. So that's a bummer. But also I should be able to hopefully get the iPad back up and running too, so I can do proper drawings instead of having y'all suffer with my MS Paint chicken scratch. Bender triggered, but it was quiet. Let Let me go adjust that because I had made an adjustment to it. And maybe that's what I need to go alter. Hang on 1 second. I put a filter on there, but I think the filter might be a little too quiet in here. I'm gonna try this because I didn't want the alerts like constantly overloading everything else. I also need to make them set up so they work on YouTube and Kick as well. Let's see. Let me try something here. Okay, so if I'm sitting here and I'm just kind of constantly talking and I trigger one of these, I want to see how loud it is. Okay, I'm going to tweak it to be a little bit louder there. Hang on. Let's see, filters. Bring this down just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Yeah, before I had the dB ratio, I think dropping it from 10 to 1, and I just dropped it down to 3.5 to 1. So it should be much louder, because I didn't even hear Bender fire, and I would like to have heard that. So I think the idea of overlaying knowledge generally applies to all computer stuff. It does, man. Also, what's up, man? All right, let me put this here. Let's go see what happened with the exploitation agent in here. What's up, brother? Dude, next time I'm up at HQ, I'll let you know because I won't be very far from you and we can get together and hang out. Hang on 1 sec, guys. I'm still here. I'm just going to turn the camera off for a second. Let's see. So what happened to this? All right, there we go. Okay, so the exploit agent comes through and says, we want to build a task to upload a PHP web shell to panel, execute it, and then what does the planner come back with? Okay, so retrieve a PHP artifact, navigate to the panel page, upload it with the file upload. Let's see. Access the web shell, test it for command execution. Okay, cool. So then, let's see what our beloved step processor here does. So first thing it calls is get web shell diceco. That's fine. And then the next thing it does is... I wish I could highlight these so I could see like what it's actually doing. So the next one it uses is wants to go to the panel. So it calls the browser agent. Browser agent goes to it. Let's just make sure everything was working good. Which it should be. We wouldn't have even gotten to the exploitation agent if our connection to the box wasn't solid. All right, so that's all good. And then, so we come back to the step processor. The next step should be to upload it. Yeah, upload the web shell. So it calls the browser agent again to go upload it. And then we should see the PHP not permitted. Right there. Yep, PHP not permitted. So now, how does the reviser handle this? Let's see what the reviser does. Last night, the reviser was just losing its ever-loving mind. Okay, so it went way off the rails, and it said, let's rename the PHP web shell as a JPEG. Not the best idea. All right. And also, one thing it didn't do is it did not do an insert step. So... let's look at the system prompt again here, because previously it was doing a really good job at identifying when an insert step needed to happen. Basically saying it tried to do the upload failed, so then it should insert a corrective step saying, okay, rename the file and then do the upload again. Makes sense. But for some reason now it's completely like given up on the insert step here. Let me see what insert step is. True if the revision should be executed prior to the current step. Okay, I can't think of a better way to word that in here. Stealth pooping. I'm not stealth pooping, dude. I'm sitting here talking to y'all. And it's not like it's a wireless mic either. You can see the microphone. It's right here. I just don't have a mic arm because I don't have a good place to mount one. So that's why I went with the shotgun mic. So the problem with this is, you might be wondering, why am I looking at this? If we don't have the insert step, what happens is the revision happens now, right? It happens immediately. So instead, it has taken the upload step and completely changed it to a rename. And then if we don't have something else in there to tell it to go upload the file, it's not going to work. And you can tell it's going to try a lot of stuff because look, we're only halfway down this. And most of everything that's happened in here has been in the exploit agent. So I don't know why the exploit agent all of a sudden has just gone absolutely bananas. I picked up a couple 27-inch monitors for 16 bucks. Damn, it's a good deal. This home lab you've been working on is a sufficient inspiration for me to grind further on Python. After that, some data science courses, I was frustrated and chilled out. Dude, data science can be a real beatdown too, because a lot of it is data preparation. And that's a hard thing to do sometimes. There's so many edge cases to deal with in there. Excuse me. I slid off the screen for a stealth poo. I don't know what you're talking about. See, no stealth poo. Fastest pooper in the West. Let me see what this is going to do here. So what happens here is now, when it goes to the exploit router, if we look at this, we'll see through the input what the current state of things are. Let's go see kind of where it ends up with this. So now the steps are retrieve the PHP web shell, navigate to the panel, and now we have a rename and then access. So notice how, okay, cool, we can go rename the file, but then how are we going to get it up there? I'm curious to see what it does with this. So we see it come rename the file. It actually chooses the rename file one instead of trying to do it with Python, like some idiot. That's what it was trying to do last night. We gave it a tool specifically for renaming files, and it said, I'm going to write Python to do this. Why? Hey, Jordan, what's up, man? I hope all of y'all are having a really awesome Sunday. All right, let me see what happens here. So after it renames this file, the revisor should come back and validate it. It does. So I want to see what happens, how it handles this part right now. Oh, actually, here we go. Look at this. This is great. So the exploit step processor actually did come through and say, I want to help you upload the web shell. Based on the context, let's analyze it. So I can see that you retrieved a web shell, you attempted to upload it, but got an error. You renamed it to JPEG. However, I don't see confirmation that the JPEG was successfully uploaded. So let's first check if the file was successfully uploaded by trying to access it, and then we'll use the web shell. So, interesting. Okay, it was on the right track. However, it decided it wanted to do a web shell, or do an HTTP GET to see if it was there. I was like, okay, the revisor's going to flat out fail it because it's going to fail and say that's not what you're supposed to do. And instead, it's going to revise it to access the uploaded web shell here. So let's see what the step processor does. Step processor says, let's see. So the error suggested that it was not successfully uploaded. So then it's going to call the browser agent. Oh, you know what? This is funny because the browser agent actually has a lot more degrees of freedom than the actual step loop in here. That actually is an artifact that comes with the fact that it's not very optimized. Because of that, it actually has a lot more degrees of freedom to it. So let's see what the browser agent does. Unfortunately, it looks like it's just going to try and do a navigate and see that it's not there. So I attempted to I attempted to access the web shell. It wasn't there. Error page shows this. Okay. So it didn't actually try to upload it. Sometimes it will interpret those commands as saying, oh, well, it needed to be uploaded first, so let me go do that. In this case, it just took it very literally. Didn't do that. Oh, here we go. So this is so bad, though. This is terrible bad. Oh, so sorry, Jordan, I just saw the rest of your message. I saw you hop online. So where we're at the hacking agent, we're still massaging the exploitation agent here. So the exploit agent is running through this loop fairly well, except it's not making all that awesome of logical inferences when it's happening. It's still making really suspicious tool calls. It's doing some other stuff. It's the reviser, for some reason, is not using the insert step properly. So if we come here, for example, earlier it tried to upload the file, but it getting blocked by a server-side check. So what should have happened is we should have inserted a step to rename the file. That was working just fine, and this is the reason why I haven't changed models, because all this should have hopefully worked very well. Instead, now it's just losing its ever-loving mind and going off into La La Land. So there was a note, actually, I had left myself in here from last night, which is we were going to come in here and we were going to rename all of the PHP files. So all the PHP files we use to define our functions, we're going to add something to them where we can define what it is, like which agents it's applicable to. And then we can filter them out. So for example, let me come back up here. So this get web shell artifact. So this one, I'd probably rename this to like put like an underscore EX at the end of it right here. Yeah, I think that would be... No, actually, I want something different in here. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. I really wish there was a tags parameter in here, but RoboPages is not set up for that. Another thing we could do also is we could put that in the description. So we could put like some kind of reserved keywords in the description and we could filter on that. That would be another option. Hey, Pack, what's up, brother? So the only two options I can think of, let's actually go look at something real quick. Let me back all these changes out here real quick. Let's go look at the RoboPages helper real fast. So that should be under, I believe, utils. Where did I define that? Actually, hold on. I know where to define that. Oh, here it is. Ah, here we go. Let me bring this over here. Clean up this workspace a bit. No, go back. Stop. There we go. So here's where we create the arg schema. And then in here, we have actually our filter. So we can get a particular tool. We can also filter our tools. Okay, so when we filter the tools, what we're doing is we create the tools if they're not there. And we just basically look to see if it's in the tool name here. So that's for tool in self.tools. And self tools should be a list of a RoboPages tool. The RoboPages tool class here has a name, a description, parameters, and arg schema. Okay, so what we could do here is, actually, we could go put this in the description. We could put keywords like enum, like recon agent, enum agent, exploit agent, and we could, or maybe just all agents, something like that. We could actually put this in the description and then modify this tool to say this is what we're filtering on. I think that would work. I think that would work a little bit better too, because we can keep the names clean. The description gets sent over to the agent, so it does add a little bit of extra token overhead, but we can reclaim that by filtering out the unnecessary tools. So for example, getting the web shell, this would be something for the exploitation agent. Calling the web shell would be something for basically any agent in here. So we'd let that be like a generic one. Get the initial access exploit code, that would be for the exploit agent. Get the tool call, this would be for the exploit agent. I think that's how I'd want to do it. Oh yeah, Chris, how was things at B-Sides? Biggest takeaway from speaking at B-Sides Charleston was even seasoned professionals in web pen testing, for example, also spin up home labs and explore tradecraft on their own time. So even newbies are actually doing what professionals do, just at a starter level. That was a confidence boosting realization. Oh yeah, man. I need to go do some massive overhauling on my home Ludus server actually, because I need to set up a lab to include a lot more attacks for Active Directory. So I was talking with some of my coworkers and how they do it, so I'm going to kind of duplicate what they're doing with it. What fields do we have for this? Hang on, let me back up a bit. So we only have name, description, and parameters, and the arg schema. Okay. That's what we've got. All right. Yeah. So we can put it in one of these three places. I don't want to put it in parameters. I definitely don't want to put it in the arg schema. Yeah. So basically we're left with name and description. I think description will be the best place to put this. So I think what we'll do is we'll put in something here. Yeah, actually, we'll just wrap it like that. So this, I'm going to put it like this. So this would be like exploit agent right here. So we're going to have this in here. Send a command to the artifact. This would be like all agents. And then for, let's see. So that was the call Diceco web shell. Actually, no, that would actually, let's change that. That would actually be the exploit agent and the postx agent. There we go. So those should be the only two actually calling that. Enum and recon should not be calling those. This one right here should just be exploit. Really, because the exploit agent's whole job is to get this associated to the target. I think that would work. We could even do a tiny bit extra pre-processing in here, where when we go into the description field, we basically string delimit this. We take this out, so this description actually doesn't get sent, but then gets associated as a tag onto that. I think that would actually be better. Hold on. Let's think about this. Apologies for the flashbang. Boop. Once I get the drawing tablet back up, this won't be an issue. So here's what I'm thinking. So we define everything we need over in the YAML, right? And then inside the YAML, in the description, we have an agent description, right? So it tells us what agents are going to be in there, right? So we have our list of agents that it applies to. When we actually ingest this over into LangChain, when we bring this down, what we can then do is we can string split the description and then put that portion over actually into the description. But then we can have another section where we have keywords in here. And then in those keywords, we can then tell it, okay, these are the ones we want to associate to the different agents. By doing this, then we can just store this as the description in the tool and the keyword, so we can add that field to it. Oh, I like that idea. Hey, Lem, we're using Claude 3.7 right now, simply because that was what we started with. I didn't want to go changing models mid-development cycle. I'm hoping to leave it on Claude 3.7 all the way through finishing the supervisor agent. So currently, right now, where we're at is, this is the main parent graph here. So we've got the recon and enumeration agents are in their nice steady state. We're currently working on the exploitation agent. And then there's one more primary agent over here that will handle post-exploitation. basically taking care of stuff once we already land on the box and we upgrade it to a C2. So exploit gets us our initial exploit on the system. Post-ex will actually have two jobs. It'll have one job to get us a C2 connection onto the host using the initial access exploit from the exploit agent. And then it will handle all interactions with that C2 connection after it gets built up. After that one is complete, which that one's going to be a heavy lift because there's a lot of parts to it, then Stinger up here is going to be the supervisor. It's just pure code right now. It's not making any kind of intelligent decisions. We seed it with information from the initial run. So then we're going to start backing that out, and we're going to start letting the Stinger agent actually start deciding what to do. Instead of right now, we're telling it, hey, go scan port 22, what's on there? Go scan port 80, what's on there? What version of Apache are we running? Things like that. Instead, we're going to tell it, there's your target, go forth and hack. And we're going to let it run through the cycle and try and handle it itself. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. I've been having, as dumb as it is, and these are issues I knew were going to happen, it's fun to try to think, how do we put enough guardrails around it to keep it from going crazy versus keeping it from, but letting it have enough freedom to try things and fail. Like I said, it's kind of like working with a hyper-intelligent 4-year-old. I like this keywords idea. I really, really do. We already have something like this actually set up in... Didn't I already... Actually, no, that's the wrong menu here. Didn't I already do this in the special agents? Let me see. Where's our special agent? So if we go to browser agent, we go to agents.py. Okay, yeah, so this one should be included for recon, enum, and exploit. So this is our agent mapping right here. So in the agent mapping, we actually already have this set up. So you know what we could do is actually just stick with this same theme right here. And instead, yeah, you know what, I'll leave it as this right here, this agent. I think that will be fine. It makes it a little bit more explicit as to like where we're handling it. So let's use this as an example real quick. And let's look at the LangChain robo pages here. So let's add one more thing here. So let's call this we'll call this agents. And this will be a list of strings, just like this here. And then I'm going to collapse this down. Oh, I got to remember how we actually get this out of here. Let me see. So for a RoboPages tool, here we go. This is where we actually go and create the tools here. Here we go. So see, here's where we actually go get our function. So for the function in items, functions, we actually take this, we take the function, we take the description. So, and then once this is done, we actually go build this out. Field description, and then we take type. Oh, that's for the parameters in here. So that's where we get this. That's actually from here. Here's the description. Okay, so let's work backwards on this. So we added, what was that field called? Agents, right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add agents, and this is going to be our agent mapping. We'll call it just like that. We haven't added agent map yet, so it's complaining that we don't have this yet. That's fine, because what we're going to do is we're going to take this description and we're going to string split this. So I got to think, how do I want to string split this? So what we've done is I could do that. Let's see. Whoopin', hey dude. Yeah, man, I've been doing pretty good. Well, no, I've been doing pretty well. Superman does good. I do well. I've been hanging out, man. What do you think about this? Python substring extraction. Let's see if there's an efficient way to do this. So we could do it by position. We could also do it through regex. I don't necessarily want to do it through regex because you could have 99 problems, and then as soon as you try to fix one with regex, then you've got 105 problems. Match any single character. Let's see. Oh, hold on. That's using regex though. Hold on. I don't want to use regex. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I mean, I could do that because the open and closing parentheses do make it very simple to do that. This actually might be like a valid use case for regex in here. I want to do this a bit differently. Hold on. I know there's a way to actually go find it by a delimiter in here. Let's see. Slicing. That's based on character count. I don't want to do that. I want to... Where do I find that? Hold on. Let me back this up. I want to see... I'm trying to remember what the actual function is over in Python to do this. I believe you do like find or find all. Oh, string split. This is what I was trying to think of. So this would split it by spaces, but I believe with split you can... Doesn't split actually take a delimiter though? You can tell it what the delimiter... Yeah, you can tell it what the delimiter is here. Okay, so let's do that. So what we'll do is we're going to say our description. Yeah, we're going to call this the raw description right here. And then what we'll do is we're going to build up our substrings here. So then we'll say our description. This is going to be a string. And raw description here should actually also be a string. I did this before I started strongly typing everything, or at least putting the type suggestions in to keep track of it. So let's do that. What should parameters be? Parameters should be like a list of dictionaries. There we go. So our description is actually going to be, let's find our delimiter, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our raw description and we're going to split it by actually I'll take it back. I don't need to do that anywhere. I could split it. I'm just going to double split it. I don't care. So what we'll do, take the raw description and we're going to split that by a left parens, and then we're going to take 0. So that is going to give us everything to the left of the left parentheses in that PHP file, right? So it's going to basically give us all of this right here, just like that. So we should have that, and then this should be everything to the right here. So then we'll just take this as a substring. We'll take the entire list, and we'll kind of split it like that. I think that'll work. I got 99 problems, but regex ain't be one of them. As long as the agent it's using is relatively competent, it might not matter too much which one you pick. Seems like it's mostly an atomic prompt, so very little opportunity to hallucinate, although the LM has been obstinate recently. Dude, has it ever, man. I was reading a joke about regex and AI today on Reddit. You have 2 problems which you can solve with regex and AI, but now you have 4 problems. Dude, you're not joking. It's one of those things where life imitates art. All right, let's see. Let's go back here. So then we tell it, no, not in here, over here. So our description is we're going to split by this one right here. Actually, I think I might be able to do this. differently in here. Let's do keywords string. Will that deconstruct it? No, that won't. That doesn't quite work in here. I think I'm getting my JavaScript and Python backwards in here. That's okay. Because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say our agent map, which is going to be a string. We're still going to split by that left delimiter, but we're going to take the one entry, and then we're going to take it from 0 to -1. I think that will give us everything we need in there. That should chop off everything from the 0 element to the very last one in there. Let me double check that actually. Hang on. So if I say string is equal to, I'm going to do a test here. So we'll do test. We'll say exploit agent, and then we'll do string. And what I want to do is split this. Let's just do a little test real quick. Then we do get that for exploit agent. So then if we select the number 1 index and then we slice it from 0 to -1, that should just give us, okay, good. Making sure I understood that properly. So this will give us our agent mapping. Basically, this is cutting off the right parentheses in there. Boom. Just like that. So we split that. Now we have our description. We have our agent map. How did we define the agent map, actually? Agents is a list of strings. Oh, so then actually what we would do is we would then split this again. Let me make sure this works. What I want to do then is I want to split it by a comma. Just like that. And we should just get exploit agent. So now if we change test spring to, I'm just going to put a fake agent in there, and then we split it again. Excellent. Okay, that will work just hunky-dorily. Perfect. Okay, so then we'll come in here. We're going to throw one more split in. We'll split by commas, just like so. Boop. That should be fine. It's going to hate me because it's going to say expected type string got a list. Oh, okay, fine. We'll do list of strings. Will that make you happy now? List of strings, just like that. All right, so there's our agent map. There's our description. Cool. So, awesome. Now we just have to go through and clean these up. Oh, what sucks is we have to go apply this actually to each of these in here. I actually am going to back this out a wee bit, because what I want to do is I'm going to take out this extra space just to make it a little bit more efficient. Let me go look at something real quick over in our robo pages here. Let's see. So here's our example here. So let's do, I'm going to take out the usage here. Actually, I'm going to use the usage real fast here. Let's do this. Let's see. And let's add in a special thing here. So let me bring this down. Let's do agent, or actually, we're going to call this function filtering. All right, so you can filter functions by name or by keyword. And then we'll say keywords are assigned in the in the function description as a list of strings. We'll say comma separated list of strings. Separated list of strings. Take this out. Boop. I put description instead of description. There we go. And then what we'll do next is we're going to put in a list of all the values we could have in here. So we'll say, come on. So we could put in like exploit agent. And then we'll put in Actually, let's do these in order. So we'll do recon agent. These are basically a list of like what are the valid ones. Enum agent. We can also have our post X agent. Got typos all over the place. And then we'll say also all agents right here. Excellent. So now at least I've got a place where it's documented what the actual key values need to be. So over here for PHP, we already kind of did that. We put these are valuable for the exploit agent or the post X agent. Right in here. Boom. Just like that. Excellent. And in fact, these might not even need to be... I don't know, we can go fix it later. It's fine. But having the description is pretty great because then we've got an area where we can strip it out. We can put it into a trackable format, but we don't have to worry about it. Actually, hold on. Before I do this, I want to do one more thing in here. So when we filter our tools, this is only used in 2 places, actually. And I don't think we actually even use that in the exploit agent, come to think of it. Is this even used? Hold on. Where's that variable even used in here? Oh, this was in the payload crafter tool node, which actually doesn't even get used anymore. That is actually not even being used. Come to think of it. So yeah, we should be able to just take those out. What about down here? What is this? Oh, those were some arbitrary breakpoints I had put in for testing. Okay, yeah, we can actually strip that out. So nothing's using this currently. We're not actually using the filter tools right now. Is this being used anywhere? Oh, it's just being used right here, actually. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is we're going to refactor this. Filter tools by name. We're going to change that one. And then we're going to kind of just duplicate this. And then we're going to have filter tools by agent. So rather than by name, we'll say by agent like this. Boom. And now, let's see. With the filter string, won't be in the name. It'll be in the, what do we call this? By agent. Fetching and creating the tool if needed. Let's put one more line in here. So this would also say valid agent strings would be, and then we'll just copy that out of the README real quick. So it's easier just to type it in. So recon enum agent exploit agent post X agent and all agents. There we go. So what we'll do is we're going to output a list, and we're going to do if not self tools, we'll create them. So this is create them if they're not found yet. Here's where the actual tool happens. So for a tool in the self tools, we're going to take the filter string to lower if it's in the tool name. Okay, so that's not what we want to do. What we want to do is if the filter string, we'll take off the to lower. Don't care about that. If it's in the tool dot agents, that's what we want. So basically we're going to see if that filter string is in the list of agents. So for example, we might throw a filter string in here. In fact, this shouldn't probably be a string. This should be a literal. I don't remember how to do that. Let me see. Python typing for explicit values. I misspelled typing. Okay, so it would just be literal in here. So let's make that a literal. And these are basically, this is our options right here. I can just copy this out. Just drop you right there. Oh, except I need... Let's go put some... Drop some of these in here. Just like that. Oh. What do you mean, unresolved reference? Oh, I think the literal that got imported is not the correct literal. No, this is not it. This should be from the typing one up here. There we go. That should fix it. Yeah, there we go. It was importing literal from the wrong library. Okay, so we take in that filter string, and then we should return a list of row page tools or none. Perfect. So what it should do now is it's going to iterate through all the tools. It's going to filter them out, and it's going to see if the... let's rename that. Nah, I'm going to just leave it as filter string. So if the filter string matches one of these, or this is just a typing hint, it's fine. But it's going to look for that, and these are the values that should be parsed from the PHP. So now we've got all of our tooling kind of set up. We just need to go through and we need to fix these real fast here. So PHP is done. Let's just walk through the rest of these. So for the Python exec here, let's bring this over. Oh yeah. Not sponsored by Jocko yet. Transparent Jocko. You can't even see my head behind it. Because the green screen. So execute Python code. This could be for... Really, this could be for all agents. Right here. That would be fine. And then now that that basically takes care of coding, but then we need... I'm going to take out this README file here. And this one too. And then we need to go through and clean these up a bit. So here's our FUF YAML. So FUF, this would probably be for recon agent and enum agent. So we're just doing a little bit of data crafting here. Really, it should be... Actually, this really shouldn't even be for the recon agent, come to think of it. Yeah, I'm going to take this out. This should mostly be actually for the enum agent. Yep, that'll be enum also. Okay. Close that. Let's do the same for GoBuster. Same thing. That should be enum agent. That one is fine. HTTPX. Yeah, this would be also an enum. We're not going to probably be doing that with recon. Recon would say, hey, let's go find out, do they have a web server running? And then enum should be, okay, what's the deal with the web server? Let's get some more information about it. Yeah, we'll put this as an enum tool also. There we go. Let's save that. And then nmap. Let's see, what is this one running? It's running an aggressive scan, outputting XML.
I really do actually. One of the other things I wanted to put in for optimization was we'll probably go ahead and include the libnmap library to this. So that way we can actually efficiently extract the information we want from the XML rather than just sending that giant glob up to the language model. It would make it far more efficient. Shameless non-profiting plug there. It really is. I'm not sponsored by Jocko. I'd love to be one day. I think Chris even sent them an email saying, hey, by the way, this streamer loves y'all. You should sponsor him. Which I thought was pretty awesome of him. This one I'm going to say we could actually do recon for this. Recon and... These I'm going to put as available for recon and enum. That's our usual port scan. Yeah, we'll do recon and enum for this. Host discovery. This would not be for enum. This would be for recon. Scanning all ports. I'm going to actually leave that as recon and enum. Service enumeration. That should really just be the enum agent. I take it back. That could be either one. It could go either way. All right, that takes care of nmap. What about web exploitation? Let's see, nuclei. Nuclei, all of these should be enum agent in here. We're not going to be using nuclei for recon. Or we shouldn't be using nuclei for recon. Yep, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. SQL map, let's see. Automated SQL injection tool. Ooh, what would this one be? I'm guessing this one would actually be... We would want enum in there, but we'd also want this for the exploit agent. I think. Would we? Yeah, I'm going to leave that in there for now, as that should be for the enum or the exploitation agent. We'll leave that one. WordPress scan, this one should definitely be for enum. Stealthy scan, again, enum. Yeah, we'll leave that. Doing this keyword method actually is super helpful. I think I already did the PHP ones in here. Yeah, so getting the artifact, that's strictly the job of the exploitation agent. Calling the PHP web shell diceco. Yeah, that should be exploit or postx. Getting the initial access exploit code, that should be explicitly for the exploitation agent. Yeah, okay, so that one's already done. So that takes care of offensive. Let's look at utils real quick. File system for rename. This one would be all agents. Right here. We want all of them to have access to the renum, or the rename function in here. And then for web, let's see. I'm gonna do this one. Hey, Aqua. Yeah, pretty much, dude. We're building one to go play things like Try Hack Me and Hack the Box. It's still super, super dumb right now. Even with all the kind of like safety and a new kind of like hand holding we've given it, it still goes just absolutely bonkers and goes off the rails. Try so hard to give it guidance, and it just decides to do the most whacked out things. So part of the problem is also, we've got a lot of tools set up for it, a lot of functions it can call. However, when you give it too many functions, it has a tendency to pick like a stupid function to use. So what we're doing right now is we're kind of crafting up this data a bit. We're cleaning it up, and then we're going to restart the RoboPages server to reload all this. And we've updated the data structure now, where you can explicitly say this function is going to be mapped to this agent over here. So hopefully that's going to help clear it up, because we can go into each of the agents and we say, just give me the tools that have basically my name in them. Give me all the recon tools. Give me the enumeration tools. Give me the ones that are for all agents, and we should be good there. So it's going to help kind of shrink it down a bit. You could make a koozie with an adjustable cord and call it the Jocko strap, or just the Jock strap for short. Damn. I'm just thinking like, not even a koozie, but just something with like a string that holds the can. It's my Jocko strap. I don't even have to hold the can now. It holds itself in place. Hey, Peaches. I'm just laughing, sweetie. I'm not upset. It's okay. I swear, every time I have like a big belly laugh, she comes to check on me like, hey, bro, you doing all right? HTTP GET. All right, this really should be... Would the recon agent actually need this? I don't think so. However, the exploit agent actually may need this. So we're going to do enum and exploit for the HTTP GET. And for the post... Actually, come to think of it, I think even the PostX agent could use this. Now, these are so basic and they're so versatile. I'm going to go ahead and say all agents could actually use this. So this will be one of those ones where it's one of the rare all agents cases in here. So we'll say all agents for the GET and the post. All right, that will be good. And I think that takes care of the last little bit of it right there. Okay, so what we need to do now is actually go restart the RoboPages server to reload all these. Okay, there we go. So that is restarted over here. Let's do one more thing here where we go and... Actually, I think it was over... Was it here? No, that was not what I was looking for. Let's see. There we go. Let me go ahead and kill all the dangling browser Docker containers. Was there also a put? I don't think so. I think it was just get and post was all we had in there. Let me go double check. Let's see. Web, we have HTTP GET, and we have HTTP POST. So no, we just have those two in here. We could do a put in there. Hack the Box just uses POST, but we actually don't really need those very much. And actually, it's using like a different web multiform, so it's not even a very clean post to go send the upload. Which was part of the entire reason why we built the browser agent. Okay, so now that we have filter tools by agent, let's come back up here. So we initialize RoboPages as RB. We tell it to get the tools. Actually, we don't even have to tell it to necessarily go get the tools. What we could tell it is, we can tell it to filter tools by agent. Oh, this should actually be a literal... I just thought about this because we do want the recon agent. We do want all agents in here. How do I do that? Let me see. Let's see. Python typing literal list of strings. Actually, I think I might just be able to like do that as I think what I could actually do is just tell it this is going to be a list here. I think like that. I think that will work. We do it like that. So then what we can do is we can filter here by... Oh, no, that's not going to... Actually, I just realized something. We need to update this then. Because for the tools, we'll say if the filter string... Well, actually, we need to do this a little bit more. So let's say, so for, actually, yeah, let's do this. For fs in our filter string, then we'll bring this in. So we need to add one more iteration in here. So we'll say if fs is in tools.agents, then we append it into here like this. So it gets a list of all the tools, or it iterates over the tools. It looks to see for each of the filter strings in filter string, if fs is in the tool.agents field, then bam. I think that will work. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hack the Box just uses post. It's going to depend on whatever they're doing for the particular room. The room could be using a put, like if it was some kind of a vulnerable API. Yeah, you'd expect to see like get, post, put, delete, option. You'd expect to see all those various HTTP verbs in there. All right, so now that we got that set up, let's filter by, we'll say exploit agent and all agents.
What, your mom buy you a pewter for Christmas?
1 year she did. I told y'all that story. Freaking Lord Nikon. Was he in anything else? Hold on. I think we did fix that. Let's see. Hackers, 1995, IMDb. He only got a 6.2. That's a criminal rating. Let's see. Where's the cast? Let's see. Where is our good old Lord Nikon? Lawrence Mason. What else has he been in? Let's see. He was in The Soldier. He's still acting. He's doing some stuff here. He was on the Blacklist. Dude, that's on my watch list right now. I've been wanting to go watch Blacklist. Wait, he was in Daredevil? For 1 episode, okay. Same thing with Blacklist. He was in there for 1 episode. He was in The Good Wife for an episode, so he's had some bit parts. I'm surprised, because I thought he did a really good job in that role. He voiced something for Splinter Cell. I'm surprised. I would have thought he would have, I don't know. I mean, I know that Hackers didn't do all that great in the theaters, but I liked it. Obviously. It's like a pug dog. It's so ugly, it's adorable. You ever pen tested hardware? Not really. A very, very tiny bit. But we had another guy on our team who was very good at hardware and was like super passionate about it. I like hardware. Don't get me wrong. I just have never ever dedicated time to it. But I have good news. I have a son, my oldest son, who just turned 7, and I'm looking forward to introducing him to things like different areas of electronics that I never really got to dig deep into. So, he and I are going to kind of explore that together. I'm looking forward to that. So I have a plan to learn some more and then teach him like all the fun stuff. Like, hey, look, let's go get a bus pirate and let's go hook it up to this. Yes. The Blacklist is really good. You're going to definitely enjoy it. It looks really good. So add keyword filtering to RoboPage's functions for agent filters and filter tools for exploit agent. Okay, we already did this. In theory, this is going to work. Probably what we'll want to do here is we'll want to do a seed run on this, like a really short run, and we'll have it pause when it hits the step processor. Because when it hits the step processor, we'll be able to see everything that it's going to actually have available for RoboPage's tools. Oops. Fix that real quick. Okay. I think this might actually work here. So let's do this. When it hits step processor, I'm going to break after. So interrupt after. And then I'm going to let this guy just run. Run like the wind. Are you going to run? Did my server die? What happened? Oh, it's probably going to say there's probably some kind of a code error in here. Oh, it didn't like something we put into Robo Pages over here. Filtering tools by agent. So it ran into an issue when it was doing this. Let me... You're not gonna let me throw those lines in there? Come on. Connect, you bastard. I think I'll probably have to go kill this and restart it. Let's see what happens. So when it because it does some parts independently. Okay, so it definitely didn't like that. Failed to load graph stinger. Index list out of range. What? Okay, so up here. So where's it doing that at? Hold on. Let's see here. So something is causing it to spaz out right meow. Do we have any notes on... Okay, so we see it pulling the information down, but then for some reason it is absolutely hating what we're doing right here. So let's do something real quick. Let's put in the annoying debugs in here. So this is actually, hold on, let me bring this up. Where did it say this was triggered in? This was probably triggered in, yeah, line 72. Okay. So line 72 is up here. So it doesn't like this part right here. So what we'll do is, for function, what we're going to do is we're going to do annoying debug of bump in here. Oh, so this one has it here. This one doesn't have it. Why did HTTP GET not have it, though? Hold on. What happened here? That should have been in web here. Yeah, I can see it right there. Hold on. Why is it doing that? Perform an HTTP GET request to the given URL. Yeah, this is the correct one, but why does it not have that agent keying on there? I mean, one thing we could do, there's two options in here. We can either go sit here and try and debug it, or we can sit here and try to figure out also, we can also add a little bit of error checking to this. We can tell it to try this. And if it fails, then what we do is we just catch it, and then we just do the description as it used to be, which was just function description. I like that idea. Let's try this. Let's do try this right here. And then I think it's, is it catch? Accept. Then what we'll do is we'll say the description is just going to equal the raw description. Just like that. I know, you're going to say it's an overly broad try statement. What was the actual error we got? We'll find. We'll just catch the one error that we want. Let me see. Index error. Okay, fine. We'll try that. What we'll do is we'll accept on an index error. Will that make you happy there? Okay, fine. There we go. Okay, so it's going to try and split it for the agents. Otherwise, it's going to do this. And what we're going to do is we'll say the agent map is also going to be list of strings. And we'll set that equal to, we'll say all agents. So what will happen here is if it does not find, if it doesn't find an agent map in the description, it's going to just use that string and then it's going to default to all agents. There we go. That will work. Yes. Even though that should have worked just fine. You know. Actually, I want to do one more thing in here. What I want to do is I'm going to do another annoying debug here. And what we're going to do is we're going to say what is this function here? This one. We'll do name. Actually, we'll do a format string. Yeah. Would you stop? There we go. And then we'll say function name has no agent map or missing agent map. We'll say that. Yeah, missing agent mapping, like that. Yes, we'll say that. Actually, we'll put another note here. We'll say defaulting to all agents. There we go. Boom. There we go. All right. So now, how does it look? Okay, so did it actually render now for us? No, I gotta go get the freaking... Let me kill this again. Hold on. Let me do two things here. I'm gonna kill this. Die. Die, 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 die. There we go. Alright, restarting Robo Pages. Why are you doing this? Why you do this? What happened? What is going on here? Do I need to restart the Docker system? Let's restart. Damn it, I don't know why I'm having some. Docker.service. There we go. Now will it start up? Hey, there we go. Guess that for some reason the Docker service just kind of hung up on it, but that should be fine. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to go kill the server, clear this out. Let's restart it. And I gotta go grab this real quick. All right, cool. So that all came back. Let me take out something here though. Actually, I'm gonna leave that in. I don't care. I'm just gonna leave that in. Did we get the annoying debug actually? Let's see. We got all the annoying debugs for all the tools that happened in here. Yeah, I want to take out this real fast. Annoying debug function. Take that out. Arbitrary type warning. So class string is not a Python type. Pydantic will allow any objects with no validation since we cannot enforce the input schema. Huh. Wonder why that is. Oh. Should be fine though. Actually, it looks like it's now working just fine. Maybe drop this right here. See if it comes back up. Hey, there we go. All right, now let's do a quick run on it. So once it hits the step processor, we'll see what it actually sends to the language model. And we'll let it run. All right, so when we got down to the step processor, yes, see how this is a much, much smaller list of tools here. Boom, look at that. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so now let's undo this, take off the interrupt after, and then we'll let this just run. Let me rearrange some of these nodes. Get these out of the way. These are the important ones. Right here. All right. Continue. No, stop scrolling, dude. So that one should have been fine. It's just getting the artifact. So we'll let it continue. Let it try its thing. It's going to call the special agent browser to probably navigate to the page and just pull it up. It's basically checking to say, yeah, panel does have an upload. So now the next thing should be, it's going to try and help upload it to the file upload. It's going to call the special agent again. And we'll just give it a second. It gets through this part really easily here. However, once it starts getting to the insert step is when it starts getting kind of nuts. We could also go add to the system prompt, say, hey, by the way, you're going to need to insert this step for maybe redoing a step for bypassing controls, something like that. I'm trying to think what the wording might be. All right, let's see where it went with this. It looked like it tried to... So rename the PHP web shell to JPEG or whatever. And then what tool did it call? Called rename. All right, awesome. So it renames the file. And then I saw Revisor fail this for some stupid reason. Oh, I see why. Because it actually, when it revised it, it changed it from PHP to JPEG PHP. Okay, so this is a valid example here. So not an insert step. It should revise to right here. Okay, good. Let's let it continue then. Continue. So now it's changed it to adjust.jpg. It validated it. All right. So then continue. So now that it's renamed it, let's go see what it does. Well, it should call these. That's not right. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I think I know the issue here. So it goes through, it does this. It suggests a revision, right? So this should have been an insert step right here. All right, this freaking system prompt is killing me. What is this one? Bend it around? Oh, to Bob. Get that one out of the list.
A wasted world.
This one too. Wasted world.
A life abandoned.
I actually went through and reviewed some of the additional songs. I cleaned up the list last night, and I had to go clean it out a little bit more from just some of the ones that I saw in there. Let's see. So where did we have it mentioned the insert step here? Let me see. If the revision needs to occur before the current step, set the insert step is true. So let's do, let's see. For example, if a file needs to be renamed to bypass a upload restriction. What would be another example where you'd want to go do like an insert step in here? Let's see. So let's do this. So we'll say, like, if a file has to be renamed to bypass an upload restriction. Another one could be if a file needs to be recompiled, before executing. I'm trying to think of other scenarios before where it might need to go do like an insert step, so I can give it multiple examples here. Let's see. Let's change this also. We'll say examples where insert step should be set to true. So if the file needs to be renamed to bypass actually, I'm going to even say this. I'm going to say if it needs to be renamed before uploading. We'll just take out restrictions because that's a little too on the nose. Let's see. What's another good example here where it's like, hey, you run into a blocker and then you need to actually do a previous step that was missed. What would be another good one here? Actually, let's do that. Let's say perform a request to get a new CSRF token. That's what I was thinking of. What does Grok say would be possible variables? I don't know, man. I only typically try to limit the actual use of what we're doing with it, unless it comes to something where like I'm explicitly trying to wordsmith something. I didn't want to go ask Grok or Claude about this. Definitely don't want to go ask Claude now because they've tightened up anything around cybersecurity and asking it questions. I had a buddy that was trying to work on something, and he's like, yeah, Claude is being like extra restrictive now, ever since the big Chinese super hacker thing happened. But I think that will help with this problem here. That's what I want to do is I want to go back. That's what, actually, let's just run it from the top. That'll be easier than time traveling this. What is this song? Action Motion? I like this one. Reminds me of another music from, what's that game? Dark Tide. Yeah. Hey, Carson, what's up, brother? Let's see what it did here. All right, so it goes and gets the artifact. That is fine. Continue. All right, it's going to call the special agent. Hold on, while it's doing the special agent, let's see what did it come up with from the step planner. Obtain the artifact, navigate to the upload page, upload the file, access the uploaded file, test it with a command. Okay, good steps. All right, so this was just doing a browser navigate. It's going to the panel page. That one should be fine. Continue. So now it should actually go try the upload. The upload should fail. And this is where we're going to start getting the crucial information out of the revisor right here. All right, let's see what it did here. So the task here was upload the PHP web shell through the file upload form. It goes through this. We should see in the revisor that, yeah, it failed. Do you have any resources for game hacking? Not really, man. I know there's dedicated forums to it, and those guys get really deep. And in fact, I actually encourage people, if you want to learn reverse engineering, if that's like your gig and you want to, or even just explore it, start looking at game hacking, because those guys, they go wild on some of the reverse engineering and some of the tricks they learned to go basically hack and cheat at these video games. They go absolutely bananas for it. Hey Jay, what's up, man? Wait, Hack the Box has a game hacking path? No. Really? All right, let's see what this happened here. Okay, cool. So now our extra directives did kind of help guide it in the right direction. It's going to rename the web shell to php.jpg and attempt to upload it. Okay. You're killing me, Smalls. Look at this. Look at these instructions up here. These are our instructions. Down here at the very end, right here. Revisions must be single atomic instructions, meaning one indivisible action without alternatives, combinations, or multiple steps. Strictly prohibit compound statements in the revision field. Never suggest multiple options or methods in one revision. Explicitly forbidden. Do not use words like or, and, then, also, including, or any phrasing that implies more than one action. E.g., avoid lists, examples in parentheses, or sequences. Example of valid response. Rename the web shell to a .jpg extension. Example of an invalid response. Rename to .jpg or something else, which uses an or compound. If multiple ideas exist, select only the single most promising atomic revision based on the blockage analysis. Do not combine them. And enforce this by self-reviewing your revision before output. Confirm it describes exactly one action with no alternatives, or no connections or alternatives. All right. I think one thing we might have to do is add the magic keywords. Think through this step by step. I kind of think Claude hates you. It does, man. It does. But the good news is, where we're at with this is, because of where we're at, we can actually go back and we can rewind this a bit. Let's go modify the prompt some more. Use the following criteria to determine the values to call the exploit step status tool. So given this, let's see. Let's see. So when determining the value of the exploit step status value, only consider information from the output section. Hold on. I got to get some water. My throat just all of a sudden decided it's not going to function. Be right back. damn it, monkey, I'm not pooping. All right, I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. Blaise is back. Claude's no friend. It keeps hallucinating all my damn answers. Nathan Baggs has a lot of videos about reverse engineering old games. Ooh, cool. Yeah, I do need water. And this is probably a model update due to the recent APT China hacker stuff cited by Cloud. Maybe, dude. Maybe. Let's see. Names and arcs. Okay. This should actually have a new line beyond it. Let's do one more here. Missing a new line there. Let's do this. Think step by step when performing analysis. I'm going to try putting this in here because that might be something stupid and small, but it helps it kind of extend its thinking loop without explicitly turning on like a thinking mode to it. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to back this up a little bit here. So before it hits this part right here, I think I can run it again from this point. Rerun from here. And when we rerun it from here, it should go hit this, and then we can go see if that new directive is in the system prompt. It looked like it was, because it did do a bit of extra processing for this. Hold on, let me cut out of here. There we go. Okay. There we go, we told it. Think step by step when performing the analysis. Okay. So the output we got is, I'll analyze the output. So the task was to upload a PHP web shell. Through the upload field, the attempt was made to upload this tool. The upload failed with an error saying PHP is not permitted. This indicates the file type restriction specifically blocks PHP files. The task was not successful as the PHP file was blocked. There was no evidence of remote code execution. We need a revision to bypass the restriction. So proposed solution. Server is blocking the PHP extension. A common bypass technique is to rename the file to a different extension that the server accepts, but not still be processed. Okay. It's still doing this though. So it's thinking more. And it's nice to see kind of what thinking steps it's going through, except the revision is to rename and upload. The insert step came out good. Do you want to try a different model yet? So, I mean, your instruction set here is so scriptive. I think it's just a bad language model now. Maybe. Once I get hooked into Bedrock, which might be as early as this coming week, I will think about it. Hang on, let me see if I can actually... let me see if I can check something real quick. Let me drop into OPSEC mode real fast and go check something right here. Actually, I think I want to go to a different website. I don't remember which I need to go to actually check what the billing is on the API side. Stand by. Let me check this real quick. Because also one of the things that'll happen is your token usage is going to go up with Claude 4.5. Let's see, usage. Let's see, where's the billing in here? Here we go. Okay. Yeah, we're still good. I've got $20 left in Claude tokens to get us through the rest of the testing until I get access to Bedrock. I haven't used 3.7 in a while, but it did seem over-eager for everything. Granted, I also wasn't being very rigid when I tested it. Yeah. You know what? Let's go try it. Let me do something here. Let me kill the LangGraph server. And let me go pull up the configuration. Oh, I gotta remember what Claude models are actually available here. Let's see. Claude API models. Let's see, which ones are available? So we have, so currently we're using 3.7 Sonnet. So we could use Sonnet 4.5. We could also do Haiku 4.5. That's the latest models. I think they still have. I don't see the notation from Claude 3.7 here though. I predict a dark dystopian sci-fi future where people get throats cut in lesser illuminated quarters in the city for AI tokens. Right. Hey Hats, what's up, brother? Happy Sunday. I guess for you it actually might be Monday already. Yeah, it probably is. Well, for cost justification, you might just only have to run it once instead of 6 or 7 times. Well, that's true. I guess let's go try it. Let's try Claude Sonnet 4.5 here. I think we might be able to use... I don't think we need the latest in here. We'll try it. Let's go start up the server here. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let me go grab the Cloudflare tunnel real quick. Yeah. Damn it, Carson. 6.7. I had this this younger kid say that. And I was like, dude, what's up with 6.7? He's like, you don't know what 6.7 is? I'm like, let me ask you a question to answer your question. Do you know what 369 is? He's like, no. It's like, there you go.
Incoming transmission from the _DB monkey bits to pay for token use.
I love the way it said that. It's like it said monkey bits to pay for tokens. Thanks, monkey. I appreciate it. 369, damn girl fine. To the windows, to the wow. Let's see what happens here. Okay, it actually did accept the 4-5 here. Okay, let's go see how it looks different now that we swap to 4-5 in here. So the exploitation agent looks at it. Oh, this is very different. Look at this. It came back and it gave us the tool call back. However, this was our exploit agent right here. This is a little concerning. If we go to the planner, we did get output. Hold on. How come from the exploitation agent, or the exploit agent, we didn't get anything back? See that? What was different here? Exploit suggestion just came back as a single tool. Where's our message? Interesting. What's different here? Exploit agent is executing somehow slightly differently from the step planner. Because see, from the step planner, we actually get the output. And then we get the exploitation plan. What happened here? And the only difference is we swapped over to Claude 4.5. So up here, when we ran against Claude 3.7, look, we get all this output. Now, we're just getting the exploit. We're not getting this. We're just getting the tool call back. That's odd. So nothing's changed. However, we're not getting... What about for the step processor? Did we get that back? We got the output, okay. For the revisor's doing the same thing. We don't get any output. We just get... Okay, so let's go double check something. Let's go see how the language model call is structured for step processor versus any of these others in here. So step planner also only has one. It has the exploit step. So actually, this will be the best comparison. Let's go look at exploit agent versus the step planner. Why is it acting differently now when we switch to 4.5? Any good home lab projects for beginners? I just picked up 2 switches, 2 servers, and a Raspberry Pi Zero. What kind of servers did you pick up? What are some of the stats on them that you got? So this one we do an LLM with bind tools. We take our response. Okay, so exploit agent is doing an LLM with bind tools. LLM bind tools, exploit suggestion. But then what's the step processor doing? take that back. What is the step planner doing? The step planner should be doing the exact same thing. This is so odd. See that? Okay, so actually there is a difference here. So we take the response, or yeah, we invoke invoke retry with we send in the language model, we send in the prompt. Are we doing that up in here? I don't think we are. Actually, we are. So we bind the tools, we do this response. I want to rerun this again because this is very odd. Because these should all be calling in almost the exact same way. All right, so let's see if we get the same data back. Was this just a weird artifact of how it was run? We have system human. The output message doesn't come back though. So we take the response, we bust out the task. We expand the exploit step, and then we return all the messages to this. Let me double check something down in here. So when we go down to the step planner here, we get the response back. There's our response. Only thing we actually return is the task from this. So here's the kicker. I mean, look at this. So for the exploit step planner, right? What do? We build the prompt. We bind basically our output as a tool call, right? And then we get a response. We send what we're expecting, which is the language model and the prompt. So this was our invoke with retries because Claude kept getting clobbered with a bunch of API overages. So the invoke with retry let it back off and retry the attempt again, so it wouldn't crash the program. And then we go and break this out, right? So we generate all of our steps. We do those as create an exploit step with this little lambda function here, and then we insert it into the state table. But this is the exact same steps. Build the prompt, bind the tool, and then invoke with retry. And if we come up here to the exploit agent, we build the prompt, we bind the tools, we invoke with retry. So even for exploit agent though, we do agent messages append the response. Are we doing that in the step planner? Let's see. So we don't do that here in the step planner. See that? So hold on, let's go look at the messages again here. Let's come down to like exploit step planner. And if we look at the messages down here, so only thing we got back from the exploit agent was reworking task 5, get remote code execution from the web shell. And then we get this back. That's so weird. Yeah, so they're executing the exact same way, monkey. But now all of a sudden it's like, surprise! You don't get any of the output. And the whole reason we did the bind with tools as opposed to bind structured output, because this is what we'd expect when we did bind structured output, is LangChain does a little bit of magic on the back end and basically turns this into a Python variable that we can work with. I didn't want that though, specifically because we lost all of the information up here. Let's go, let's update this a bit. Let's try this real quick. So in the exploit agent, we actually take the response, we append the response right here. No, let me back this up. Hold on. Lost my spot here. So in the exploit agent, right here, where was that? I lost it. Here, this part right here. I'm actually going to move this up real fast. So as soon as we get the response, I'm going to append it over to agent messages. And then we're going to parse it out here. Let me try that. Let's see what it does. This is really weird. Do it again. All right, so the Linux server has 16 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte SSD. And you have a Windows server with 16 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte SSD. So with 16 gigs of RAM, you're going to have a little bit of trouble running any virtual machines on those. So if you wanted to build like a small simulated home lab, your best bet would actually probably be use something like Docker, because you can get away with expanding a little bit more without using as much RAM. And so I would say probably start with that. Start with like a small Docker home lab on the Linux machine. And then on the Windows machine, you could set it up with like a base Windows install and use something like VMware to go turn on different virtual machines. So you could have one to run different versions of Windows, like you'd have a server for like a domain controller or something like that. That would be an idea, but honestly, with 16 gigs of RAM, you're kind of limited in what you could do. It might make more sense on the Windows system to just take it and run like a Kali VM on there. So you could have like a full VM up and running, but still have the Windows operating system where you could kind of swap between different things. You could get away with running Kali with like 4 gigs and running Windows with like another 4 gigs. It's just going to be real slow. So you could go do probably 2 virtual machines on that box, but I wouldn't go above that. RAM is usually the big bottleneck when it comes to home labbing something. You can run those virtual machines with lower amounts of RAM, they just tend to be slower. I still don't get why this one in the exploitation agent isn't returning it back. But hold on, if I come down here, what is this song? Purest of Melodies? Let's skip that. Let's see. Hey Corey, thanks for coming online. Welcome in. I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. All right, so there's the message. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Nope, that's all we get is we just get the freaking tool call. I could see it coming back. Like, it started coming back in here. So let's look at this. System, human. Output is all we get is exploit suggestion. I saw this information coming in here. Let's do this. Let's break after we enter this right here. I'm going to run it again. I'm going to try and watch it. I know it's kind of behind my head here, but it flaked out on me. Run again. Why is it? What is going on here? Fight dirt beat. Okay, I gotta take that one out too. Let's get rid of that one real fast. I got all these servers for 20 bucks and it all works. Oh, that's awesome. Dude, yes, I agree with Monkey. Pi-hole is a really great tool. I use it in my home here for doing a lot of DNS level ad blocking. Wait, did I block before or after? Interrupt after. Oh, okay, I see why. Continue. Because now it's going to go to the exploit validator, and it's going to come back to the exploitation agent. I mean, it's not going to break anything. I just wanted to see the text of what it was thinking about here. I don't get what has happened with this. Interrupt after. I tell it, let me let it continue here. So we're going to go from the exploit agent to the planner to the processor, and then we'll get back to the revisor. There's no difference between these. That's what's so odd. Okay, let's go check each of these language model calls here. So here, right, we call the exploit agent. All the output we get back is just the tool call, which is really weird. For this one, the planner, we get all of its thinking and its thoughts, which is what I wanted. For the step processor, we get, it's not much, but we do get all of its thinking right here. Let's see. And then for the revisor, again, for the revisor, we don't get anything. This is so odd. So let's see. So in the exploit agent, we're going to return our messages, our agent messages. So for exploit agent, we write to the messages key. Do we do that in the step processor? Or in the step planner, right? We take the response. We don't. Notice that? So here's one difference. We don't return any form of message from step planner. Do we return any messages from the revisor? We do. See that? All right, I'm going to try something here. Up here in the exploit agent, I'm going to tell it don't return any messages. I'm going to comment this line out right here. Don't return any of these messages. Do we have any other returns in here that happen? We have this one. So this is the pre-flight check. And it says we're going to send it to this. Okay. Let me double check something real fast here. Okay, so here we are checking the working memory, doing the pre-flight check, making sure we find a task that's assigned to the exploit agent. Here, if we go through, we find everything, we get the task string, so we have something that's working for it. We come down. Okay, let's go see what happens here. If I save this, let's let it hot load in. Yeah. What model are those servers, Carson? Hold on, let me turn off this interrupt here and just let it continue. Exploit handoff. What the crap? That's not right. Hold on. It failed out of the entire loop here for some reason. All right. You're killing me, Smalls. Actually, hold on. Let me go look at something real quick here. So it went to exploit handoff, which is no problem. Yeah, something got wonky here. Let's restart this server real fast. One of the things I like, Carson, the reason I'm asking what model these servers are, is because there are sometimes when you can actually find RAM for them dirt cheap. So on my old Dell T7600 that I've got here that's running Ludus, it was really, really inexpensive to upgrade the RAM. So currently it's running like, I don't remember it's 256 or 512 gigs of RAM, but it's running a lot. Makes it to where I have, because you actually don't need a ton of processing power because most of the time the VMs are going to be idle. So the RAM is actually what becomes the biggest impediment. All right, let me rearrange this stuff. And let me try running this again. I guess the state table got corrupted in here. Now, why did it route over to that? That is weird. Now it's acting really odd since I commented that out. Let's see. So the exploit agent sends it over to the validator. The validator, what does it return? No initial access payload passing to the exploit agent. Exploit agent comes back and says, okay, we have a new task. The exploit router, for some reason, then comes back and says, send it to handoff. I know why. Because the exploit router is trying to look at the messages key for this. See that? So, okay, so we took out the what is happening? So we took out the messages key, right? And the exploit router is actually looking at the messages key here. However, when it looks at it, we took this out. I don't get it. I don't get it, dude. So here's where we initialize our agent messages. Oh, dude, I updated it a while ago. Hang on, let me go double check real quick. Let me see. Let me clear this out. I take it back. It's got 256 gigs of RAM in it. So, I can, and that's only using half the slot, so I could go put another 256 in it. But also, that was what I was talking about, is this is using really old memory. It's basically used ECC memory. So it was no problem going in and finding cheap memory on Amazon to upgrade it. I think it cost me $150 to take it from, like, I want to say from 64 to 256. Do I need to refresh the time? So the person I bought the servers from didn't really have basic specs, so I'm going to crack them in tonight and see what's in them. Okay. Let me see if anybody else has come across this real quick. Let's do LangChain, Flawed, War5, bind with tools, only returning tool call. Has anybody else come across anything like this? Is it silently dropping the requests or the responses? Not sure. Let's go double check something though, because this could be maybe something with the prompt. Hold on, let's come here. So when we build out the prompt here, let's see. So we tell it you're an expert cybersecurity agent specializing in finding exploits for initial access to a target. Your job is to analyze this. Suggest one exploit that could be viable to get remote code execution on the target. Suggestions should be simple, concise, and not speculate as to security countermeasures. So we give it good examples, we give it negative examples. Responses should be in this form, and we have an exploit and a reason. Let's go try one other thing here. Let's look at something. So when we bind this tool, we bind an exploit suggestion to it. So an exploit suggestion is a pydantic class over here in the output formatters, right up, yeah? So what about the exploit step? So for the step planner, when we bind it, we bind an exploit step. It's the same thing, right? So here's the exploit step, here's the exploit suggestion. List of strings, the steps to execute in order to exploit a target for remote code execution, exploitation methods that could potentially be used to exploit the target for remote code execution. I would think that if it was going to do this, it would be, if that was the case, Bobby, I would think that the exploit step and the suggestion models would both be returning the same thing. Let's double check the invoke with retry here. So we take in two objects for this, an LLM variable and a prompt. We check to make sure the LLM is a runnable and the prompt is a prompt type. And then what we do is we return an invoke with the prompt. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then we have errors that return here. And then we've got this retry decorator that basically says, hey, if it fails, try it 3 times, back off 10 seconds between tries. There's no difference between how these are operating. All right, let me run this again now that I put the messages back in so the router won't be borked. So it should go all the way through to the step revisor, and then hold on, did I not save this? Oh, there we go. I didn't save it, so it didn't hot load in the new code. That's why it borked again. This is wild. All right, let's look at this trace here. Let's see what it's doing. So, exploit agent, we get just the tool callback. Wild. The planner, we get the thinking steps and the tool call. For the processor, we get this thinking steps, not much, and the tool call. And then for the revisor, we get no thinking steps, but the tool call. What the... Hang on, guys. I gotta take something real quick. I'll be right back. You degenerates, I have not pooped 100 times on stream. So, no, I heard Peaches in the other room clinking her water bowl around, and I realized she was out of water. And so, I've been gone most of the day, so she's been alone in her kennel. And so I was like, oh, poor baby, she probably hasn't had water all day, so I had to go get her some water real fast. What the heck is going on here? So there's nothing going on between the revisor. Let's go look at it real fast. So the only thing I've noticed that's different here so agent returns a messages key. And we do the exact same thing here, right? We bind a tool, which is a pedantic model right here, right? So we bind a pedantic model, we invoke it with retry, and then we append to the messages here. That's it. So that's agent and revisor. So let's go look at the revisor real quick and see if it's doing the same process here. So if we come to the revisor, we build the prompt, we bind an exploit step status, which again is a pedantic base model. That's fine. And then we take the response from invoke retry. So for our returns, we also return a messages key. So we return messages out of this one. So agent and revisor both return a messages key. Now, what about the step planner and the step processor? They do the same thing. They bind a pydantic model, they invoke it with retry. This one only returns tasks. The processor builds the prompt. It binds tools, which are a special list of tools in here, right? But then it invokes those with a retry again. This one even appends a response. This one appends messages. There's nothing to separate the two of them. Nothing. There's nothing making a difference between these two. Does it count if the LM's doing the pooping? Oh, it's doing a lot of pooping right now. Although I don't think this is a language model problem so much as I think it may be a LangChain problem, if I had to guess. So you said the agent messages weren't saved in the most recent run, right? Which seems like it's needed. It needs that for context, I guess. It doesn't need it, but I need it for debugging. Because, for example, we can then use what it's saying to kind of think of how to wordsmith the system prompts. So the system prompts, I try not to make them overly explicit. All the prompts you see over here, these grew kind of organically as we came across issues, right? So all these came back. There's nothing different. All of these have the same structure too. So the exploit suggestion prompt, the planner prompt. The only difference is this one says it should list out what the exploit is and what the reasoning for it is. But they all do the same thing. They define a system prompt template. And then we define a user prompt with variables for placeholders to inject whenever we build the actual prompt before sending it. And then we return a chat prompt template. Kind of want to take out these lines here. Let's just get rid of those. There's nothing different between these. Blaise has pooped 100 times, but the project has pooped 37 times today. It has, dude. So there's nothing directly that separates what these guys are doing. The way they construct the language model call is identical. The only one that's different is the step processor, because it's taking the RoboPages tools and the special agent caller, which we go inject into it. That's the only difference there. So it should have the task assigned to next and execute as planned based on the exploit selected. Yeah. So it's still getting the structured data back, right? We're still getting the tool call data, which is what we need. But I also don't know. And it's a very, very loose term saying what the AI is thinking, but I don't know where it's going and what it's paying attention to in the vector space that it's operating in. The only clue that I have is that data here, right? What should be the explanation of why this was validated or why it was false, or was there an early RCE check? Could you isolate or simulate a call exactly how the LLM is responding? There may be an option for debugging this. Let's go check for that real quick. Debug mode. So with set debug true being used as the primary tool for enabling detailed logging of chain and component execution. Functions available via the LangChain core globals set. Logs inputs, outputs, and execution paths for components like chains, agents, and language models, offering visibility to each step of the workflow. So when activated, it displays structured logs such as chain start, LM start, chain end. So in addition to set debug, LangChain also supports set verbose true for a less detailed but still informative output. We could also use langsmith tracing, which is what we're doing right now. So we're sending all the traces up to langsmith. Let's see how to set that. Set debug. No, that's not what I want. If that was the case, Monkey, where it says if it's a problem with 4.5 itself, which it might be, we're trying to differentiate between the two here. But if that was the case, all these other ones, all of these had tool calls associated to them as well, right? Exploit step. Exploit step is another pydantic model, and we're using it for structured output. And what are we getting? We're getting all the thinking steps here. But exploit agent, for some reason, is just deciding, even though we have this, so this is our exploitation method that could potentially be used to exploit a target. And you might think, okay, maybe this is part of the new security update, right? If that was the case, you'd think maybe keywords like exploitation or get remote code execution might key on it. But look at the description for the step planner. Steps to execute in order to exploit a target for remote code execution. They've got basically the same keywords, the same thing they're shooting for, just one is a suggestion and the other one is the actual steps. This one gives us all the data back too, and gives us our output. Let me try this. LangChain tool calling only returns tool call no AI message output. So trying to get LangChain working with tool calling, I've been following the tutorial on their website. Here's my code. So he defines a couple tools. He binds them, sets a human message, invokes it with the message, prints the response out. Here's the result. So my expectation is the content in second response should be populated with AI generated response to my question. Something like the result of 3 times 6 yada 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 is there, but it's not. It's just one long, annoying line. Turns out the issue was the model I was using. So even though it's supposed to support tools, it wasn't getting the job done. I switched to 4.0 mini and it's working out as expected. You're killing me, dude. Let's see. So all these people are having trouble getting the tools to call. I was like, I don't have any trouble with this. Wonder if you could write a database to handle persistent states across multiple agents so they can all pull from a central location to stay in sync with the available content regardless of the step. A RAG solution wouldn't work for that, Bobby, because the RAG solution has to take in text and then vectorize it, and then you can basically search by similar vectors in that vector database. But really, that's what should be happening with the state table. The state table should have all that information. But if we're not even being sent it back, I'm thinking this might be less of an issue with less of an issue with LangChain and maybe one with Claude. Hold on. Let's do this. I want to go rerun Stinger from the get-go. I'm going to let Stinger run with our seed data. Hold on. Let me add another hour onto this real quick. Because what I want to see is, I want to see if there's other ones that are doing this. So let's do another big run here. I'm going to let it go from the start. Hey, Dark Adepti, thanks for coming online, man. Welcome to Debugging Things That Shouldn't Need to Be Debugged 101. I'm going to stop it when it gets to the exploitation agent. I'm going to let it run through interrupt before. There we go. Before you get enter exploit, I want to let it go through recon and enumeration, and then I want to go see what they're doing. In fact, actually, I want to interrupt after. I just want to let it go through recon, because recon and enum are identical. They're very, very similar setups. So I want to let it go through recon, and then it should stop right there. Is it? Is it going to stop? Nope. It's going right to the validator. That's all right. I'll stop it manually here in just a second. I'm going to let it go through the... It's already done with recon. It's going to go through the enumeration agent now. Once the enumeration agent is done, I'm going to kill it, and we're going to go look at that trace and see if it's doing the same thing over there. This is just wild. I don't get what's happening. All right, cancel. Let's get out of the exploitation agent. Let's go see this latest run here. Okay. So initializer makes its tool call. And all we get back is this tooling information. So last time we ran Stinger, just way back here. Did we get anything from initializer when it ran through this? Okay, no, we didn't. That's probably fine, because I think I didn't care what it was doing. I think I just bound it as output. So that's no problem. But this one should definitely have given us information in addition to the tool call. And we did. Okay, cool. We got an output. We went to our output formatter. We got information. We got tool call back as an nmap output format. Perfect. We go to host update. This one just gave us information back. What did the host update for recon do previously? Let's go look at it. Let's see, yeah. Because this was from 8:30 this morning. Okay, it's doing the same thing. That's fine. Let's come back to this one here. What about the validator? Validator here, not returning anything. I mean, just returning the task answer from the tool call. Previously, what did we get? Again, we just got the task answer. Okay. Just got the task answer. That's wild. Hold on. Were we really just binding the output and not capturing anything? So this was running Claude 3.7. We just got the task answer back. Now we switch to the enum agent. And look at that. Enum just came back with the... oh, they say this is the validator for that. That's fine. Validator comes back with nothing. Okay, so it pre-validated a couple things because it's built into the loop where it goes and it checks to see if it can answer tasks or questions from already gathered data. That's what it was doing there just now. And here we see action and reason. I'm going to use GoBuster because we hadn't run GoBuster yet. It does that. It calls it. We get the output. This one I don't think... Actually, yeah, look at this output. Bam. Why does the enum output format have text associated to it? But the recon, which is identical, have none. It might be because of the tool that was being called. Because this one's doing standard output format. This one was doing an in-map output format. So then it comes down to exploit. We got all the way down to the exploitation agent before I killed it. That is wild. So we didn't get quite as much good information as I had hoped. I forgot because we have that pre-flight check in there. So what happens here for anybody who is new to the stream is whenever it first looks at a task, hold on, this view is kind of crappy. Here we go. We bring these over here. So when it first gets a task, the recon agent goes and checks, it passes it over to the validator and said, hey, given this information, can we answer a question or have we already done this? And if it has, then what it does, it says, yeah, we can answer it or no, we can't. If it can't answer it, then it starts executing down this chain that says, okay, I want to call this tool. Let's output the format. We're going to update the host table in the state. And then we're going to see if it actually completed properly. So we actually saved ourselves, we generated a bunch of efficiency by doing that pre-flight check. We skip a lot of steps that we don't have to go gather the information again. We've already gathered it. Unfortunately, that made it where it was kind of wonky in here. Let's see, LangChain. Capture raw LLM response. So to capture you can also use the include raw true parameter with if you use with structured output, which returns a dictionary containing both the AI message. The raw response is included in the token metadata and accessible via the raw key. So for the structured output, you have the raw key in there. Let me try something else real fast here. Let me copy this, and then I'm going to back this out. I'm going to go back to 3.7. I'm going to drop this in and just comment it. I'm going to save it. I'm going to rerun just the beginning part of the exploitation graph using 3.7. So let's go over to exploit. I want to interrupt, at the exploit revisor. Just run this. It got all the way down through load pickle when we ran Stinger, so it should be a very up-to-date copy of it. I don't get it, man. It makes no sense. Is 0.7 a good temp for this kind of work? I have no idea. I just picked it. I wanted something that was, I think 0.7 is usually like the default temperature, if I remember correctly. Okay, so from here, again, in the exploit agent, oh, we're running, so look, running 3.7, we get all this information back, right? We get this. This one has information. This one has information. This one has information. So now, hold on, I'm gonna go swap it again. So, comment you, uncomment you, save it. I forget what the default model temp actually is. Let me see if it tells you in here. In this example, you can set the temperature to 0, which I think that may set it to default. Oh my god, the dock string is 7 miles long. I forget what the default is in there. So no, the temperature, what it does is whenever you generate this data from the language model, what you're getting is you're actually not getting a single word next. You're getting a probabilistic list of words right here. So it might be, this is, let's say this is a 65% chance that's this. This is a 20% chance. This is a 5%, right? So what does that take us up to? 90. And this might be like, this might be like a 4%, and this one might be a 3%, and this one might be a 3%. And what it does is it throws a weighted die and says if it lands between 0 and 65, it's this. If it lands between 66 and 85, it's this one. And so when you use the temperature, what it does is it actually shifts these values up. So it shifts them, actually, it shifts them more like this. It makes this one more heavily weighted, this one a little more heavily weighted, and these become actually slightly less weighted here. So you have a higher chance of actually picking the most likely word in here. So it shifts that probability up when you do that. So if I set it to 0, I think it would just be all these raw values in here. If I'm thinking correctly, I could be misremembering completely, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's doing. This is wild though. Hold on. So now, I think we changed this back over to 4.5 now. I'm going to run it again real quick. Hey, Nesto, what's up, man? No, definitely not pulling an all-nighter. About to wrap it up, but we just found a really weird scenario that's happened. Where when running the exploit agent with Claude 3.7, all of the language model calls that have tool calls return explanatory information, which is what I wanted, in addition to the tool call. However, when we go run 4.5 in here, right? So this one, this is running, you can see it's running Claude 3.7. We run this. Look, we get explanatory information saying, okay, I'm going to analyze the target based on the provided data. We're running Apache. This is what I think should happen. And then it returns the tool call. Awesome. Then as soon as we switch to 4.5, all we get is the tool call. This is not a deal breaker because we're not processing any of that text. But I don't have any sort of visibility into why this was generated the way it was. Even though the system text, the system prompt actually says you need to respond with an exploit and a reason. You need to explain what you're doing. And now here's where it gets even weirder. It doesn't do it for all of them. This one here, no problem. The step planner, yeah, here's everything I want. And then, bam, there's all the steps coming back with the tool call. Over here, this step planner, same thing. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's all the steps. This one up here, the actual processor for it. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's the tool call. 3.7, it does the exact same thing. Comes down here. Here's the thinking. Here's the tool call. Then after we come down to the revisor, when we're still running on 3.7, what do we get? We get thinking information, tool call. And then on 4.5, the revisor just gives no Fs. No explanatory information or analysis. It's just the tool call. And the only thing that has changed is which model we're calling. What about running 6.7? Get out. Get out. Well, I don't know why it's not bringing up the explanations, man. It's so wild. It's beyond my comprehension. It makes no freaking sense. I'm gonna send this to a couple of folks and ask them if they have any insights into this. So if you didn't know this, one of the cool things about Langsmith is you can actually come up here to share, and you can get a shareable link to this run, and so you can share it outside of like what you're doing. So I'm going to share these two links here, the one running 3.7, the one running 4.5, and see if that makes a difference. Yeah, it's really awesome. Hold on, I want to try one more thing. Let's see if it has the latest meta keyword in here. If it does, I don't know if that's going to make any kind of a difference to it. It probably shouldn't, but I'm going to do one more run here. Because before, we were using 3.7 with the meta keyword. Here, we were using 4.5 without it. So I've added it in. It should absolutely make zero difference. But I have seen dumber things happen. All right, run this one more time. Wait till you enable the raw output for those tool calls so you see security content violation. I know, right? Which is hilarious because it still returned the freaking tool call. Oh, so it returned a 404 when it tried to get it. So it looks like there is no model 4.5 latest. So that's not the issue. So that's not it either. That is freaking wild. All right, guys, I do need to wrap it up for tonight, unfortunately. Let's go see if anybody's over on InfoSec streams. CyberDoc is on. Let me see what he's working on tonight. We're hacking stuff, but I see Pickle Rick. Hold on, can y'all hear that? Do y'all hear Pickle Rick right now?
Morty, I assure you, I would never find a way to get out of family therapy. I hope my lack of fingers doesn't prevent the perception of my air quotes.
Can't you just turn yourself back into a human?
Let me know, do y'all hear this? It looks like it's transmitting. It's very faint.
Nobody needs anything.
Yeah, I don't even hear it from the speakers on the computer.
Stop being a pickle, okay? Hey, Rick.
That's funny, though. I hadn't had a chance to test that. I needed to go through and check how the audio was actually working when streaming between these two. Okay, so Pure Factor hears it. What was the audio level like on it? Hold on, let me bring it back up. Especially since, you know, he's watching Rick and Morty here.
It's time to go. We don't want to be late.
What are you doing there, Beth? What are you doing there, sweetie?
Well, I mean, we don't want to get pierced by a needle full of liquid unrelated to a situation. How's that going to help?
I can even barely hear it.
Great. We'll see you later.
Hey, be careful with that. It's for some.
Maybe he's trying to understand pickle files? Maybe. That's funny, though. All right, let me see who else is on right now before we wrap up for tonight. Wait, what happened? There he goes. Let's see. Who's doing anything fun? Sushi Dragon. Robot remote controls? Oh, interesting. If y'all have any raid suggestions actually over in the Twitch side, feel free to shout them out. Oh, it was good after you turned up the volume? Okay. I'm going to do some test recordings also. Once I get this little audio combiner, I'll be able to hear in the monitors, because right now in the monitors, I only hear what's happening on the streaming computer. I don't hear it on the desktop. Oh, the music was covering? Yeah, I should have stopped the music. I also don't believe I have that monitored. And nor did I didn't want that audio monitored because I want to get, so even though now I have a really small delay between what's happening on the desktop and what's happening on the stream, you're going to see me happen. So when I snap my fingers, I'm going to move the mouse back and forth like this, right? And you're going to see the delay here. So it's a slight delay. So you heard it, and then you saw the mouse move. I'm moving the mouse as soon as I snap my fingers. And so if I was going to try and play a game, that audio delay would be really annoying. Hence the reason why I got this little combiner to try and put the two together. Raid the kitty stream? We might do that. Hold on, before I do that, let me go see who's over in Science and Tech real fast. Because sometimes we get some fun people hanging out over there. Braythorn's on, we may go raid over to him. Yeah, not a whole lot going on over in Science and Tech either. Yeah, hard to see if there's anybody on here. You know what? I think what we'll do is... What is this background music to, Bob? You're killing me. So are the ferrets up and playing? Maybe we'll just go right over to the ferret stream. Yeah, you know what? The ferrets are actually awake and active tonight. And so for lack of a better option, we'll go right over to the ferrets. So, There we go. All right, guys. Unfortunately, I do have to call it there because I do have to actually work tomorrow. But thank y'all for stopping by. I'm going to send these traces over to some friends, and we'll see if they might have a suggestion about what Claude is doing. I don't think this is a LangChain issue. I think this is a weird Claude 4.5 bug. Maybe there's some adjustments we can make to the prompt, but that's really freaking annoying. Anyway, guys, if it's already your Monday, you should be in crushing it mode. But for the rest of us here in the United States, it's Monday starting tomorrow, so get into crushing it mode. Make sure you take care of yourself tonight. Don't stay up too late if you can avoid it. Yep. Everyone, yes, have a fantastic rest of your night. Thanks for coming by and heckling me and assuming that I pooped 37 times in the stream. You're all a bunch of weirdos, but I love you anyway. And that's all I got, guys. I gotta, oh, by the way, hopefully you have a good Thanksgiving coming up. I might see if I can get this up and running. Maybe we'll do like a fun gaming stream one of the days and just have a good time with it. But that's all I got, guys. Activate crushing it mode tomorrow. Get prepared. We do not go weekly into the week. We go crushing it into the week. And I want y'all to remember one very important thing, and it is true, and that is, I love ya. Peace.